What's going on, guys? Welcome to another video tutorial on Palito's technologies. Today we're going to be working with local storage in JavaScript. We're quickly going to look at what it means, how we can go about, how we can work with it, and all that. So let's just get started. So hopefully you must have heard of local storage, or you might be having a project that needs a local storage. So in other words, a local storage is more or less like a local database, just like the way you have your local development. You have a local database that can be accessed by only you. So having said that, I can quickly navigate to a typical example of what a local storage should look like. So when I go to my PC, and then my C drive is an example of a local storage. Do you understand? So in the sense of local storage in JavaScript, we want to create a local storage that is embedded on our browser. And the way to get there is to go into your control. Oh, sorry, I need to do this. You need to right click on your page on your web browser and then go to inspect elements, or you could just press the F12 function key right there. And then I'm navigating to storage. Then you see under the storage we have different type of local storage. We have the cache, we have the cookie, we have the index DB, we have the local storage. So today we're going to be working with how we can create a local storage. Alright, having said that, let's get into our coding environment. What I've done is I just dropped a bare HTML bone, linking my bootstrap to it, and just having a simple working with local storage text. So to start, let's just start with a script tag. Local storage is pretty much very simple, very easy. It has, I think, 3 methods. There's a method to let's just get into it. So let me just give a list item. So at first we'll look at how we can create a local storage. So I'm going to be dropping the syntax down, and then we are going to be working with it within the script tag. So at first we look at how we can create a local storage. To create, we use a keyword local underscore capital letter S dot set item. So the set item is a method, like I said. It takes 2 arguments. One, the name of the local storage. You know, when you create a database, you give it a name. You give the database a name. Let's say my database name is the name of my website. Let me say Palito Music. You understand? So I'm creating a database, Palito Music, that has value. You get the value are the records, either the user table, you understand? So the same thing happens here. It takes 2 arguments. The first one is the database name, and let me say my storage. So the other argument now is the value. What do we want to keep there? So you can say we just want to keep our money, right? So this is the first function, or the first method we are going to be working with, and the other one is going to be how we can access it. Instead of set item, we need a function that enables us to access the my storage database we just created. So we just use the get item. You must have guessed that right. So what do we want to get? We want to get my storage database. Pretty much easy and simple. So what if we don't need the database anymore? We want to delete it. Yeah, you can also do that. Yeah, so let's go into our script. So at first, let's write a function. Let's write a function that creates a local storage based on the argument we pass through. So I want to create a function. So I'm calling it my shop. So in my shop, I want to create a database and I want to store some items, right? So I'm going to be collecting two arguments. The first argument is the database, and the next argument is the value, right? So inside, we're just going to write a local storage dot set item. You must have guessed that right. So we pass database and we are passing the value to it, right? So this is what we need. So in order to execute this, we need to call the function my shop. So let's save and refresh on the browser. So I'm refreshing now. We should see a database created. We have undefined workstation. I think we didn't do it. Okay. We didn't pass argument to it. So it needs the first argument is the database, my store. And the value is I sell paint, I sell brush, I sell plates, right? So let me save that. So let's refresh. Now we get a database of my store, right? So even when we reload our browser, we still have this data stored on our browser. So it's a very useful tool, because what if we want to create like a to-do list and we want to be able to keep record of the value at which we keep to the browser. So we've successfully created a local storage by using the local storage dot set item. So what if we want to retrieve? Let's create a function that does that. Retrieve data should take a single argument, right? You must have guessed that right. So it should take an argument of database. So we use the local storage dot get item. What are we getting? We are getting the database, right? So let's do the same thing here. Let's call our function. But this time around, we want to print out the results to the screen, right? So let's create a div of with id results. So let's create a variable that accesses this guy. let's say var result equals documents dot get element by id. So now let's assign a variable for this guy. Okay, so we want to set the inner HTML to the record here, right? So we say result dot inner HTML equals output, right? So now let's just reset the what database are we accessing? We want to access our my store database. I want to print the result out to the screen, right? So we refresh and we get paint, brush and plates, which is what we have here. So it's really easy to use local storage. I don't know how other people teach local storage. Local storage is not something complex, it's just a way to retrieve and input our data. So to delete it, you must have guessed it right. We can easily delete by creating a function delete record. You get a database, right? So the syntax will just be local storage dot remove item. Remove item. We made a mistake up there, so I done the correction. Save up, and then we'll call the function. Let's call the function out here. So let's just call the delete record. What record do we want to delete? We want to delete my store record, right? Let's go back to refresh. We've successfully deleted the record. So this is how we can work. And mind you, we can also make some decision making there to check if a database has been set already. So like for the creation of database, we can always check if the database has been created already. The way to do that is we use the if local storage get item. That is, if it's true, if it results true that yes, this database already exists, we don't want to create another database. We want to maintain the database that we have. Okay, if it is true, we want to just console.log right. So we can use the else as if it doesn't exist, then we should do this. So fine, we've already made an if statement that if this database already exists, it should tell us the database already exists, else we should create the database. So I'm going to be removing these guys, or moreover, I'm just going to copy this guy. I'm going to duplicate it twice. Remember, the my shop create a database, and then I'm creating the same database twice, so we should get error for the other one. So let's save up and go to the browser. But now we are going to the console because we want to see the error message. So let's refresh. So we get the database already exists for the other one. So this is all you need to know about local storage. So in my future tutorial, when I work on to-do list, my to-do list, we used local storage to retrieve our data and then delete data and add data. So we'll go more on practical aspect on using local storage. Like I can easily say Ade, Shola, and I can easily delete them directly from the local storage. So we get to this. This tutorial would be dropped as soon as my local storage tutorial has been dropped. So I believe you must have learned how to use local storage very well right now. So if my tutorial has been informative, please do subscribe to my channel and share my link to friends and help me reach